Cyber Threat Brief for March 2, 2026. A CVSS-10 authentication bypass in Cisco SD-WAN, CVE 2026-20127, has been exploited since 2023, with CISA emergency directive deadline already passed. Patch immediately if you haven't. APT28 was tied to an MSHTML 0-day. CVE 2026-21513 before its February Patch Tuesday fix. The CISA KEV deadline is tomorrow, March 3. Roundcube webmail is under active exploitation via 2 KEV-listed bugs with a March 13 deadline, and SolarWinds Web Help Desk is exposed to a pre-auth RCE chain across multiple KEV entries. Here's the full breakdown of today's top security stories. Next section, Ransomware and Extortion. Shiny Hunters breaches Wynn Resorts. Killin targets NYC Transit Union. UFP Technologies hit multiple high-profile incidents surfaced this week. Shiny Hunters claimed access to Wynn Resorts employee data, HR records, contact details, and employment history for current and former staff, with the company confirming access occurred but reporting no operational disruption. UFP Technologies, a medical device manufacturer, disclosed a cyber attack that resulted in data exfiltration, data wiping, and disruptions to shipping and labeling workflows. Killin Ransomware listed Transport Workers Union of America, Local 100 on its leak site, putting personal data for roughly 67,000 NYC Transit Union members at risk. European home improvement marketplace Mono also disclosed a breach tied to a third-party customer support portal, exposing customer names, email addresses, phone numbers, and support ticket details. Passwords and payment data were not affected. Action, review third-party support, and CRM portal access controls. This is a recurring breach vector for all 4 incidents this week. Killin is actively targeting labor organizations. Verify RDP and VPN exposure in any sector with union membership data. Source: Checkpoint Research. Next section, Critical Alerts. Cisco SD-WAN authentication bypass CVE 2026-20127, CVSS, the Common Vulnerability Scoring System, 10, KEV known exploited vulnerabilities catalog, deadline passed. CVE 2026-20127 is a CVSS 10.0 authentication bypass in Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN controller and manager. An unauthenticated remote attacker can bypass authentication, gain admin privileges, add rogue SD-WAN peers, and chain to CVE 2022-20775 for root access on controllers. Cisco tracks the exploitation cluster as UAT 8616, described as a highly sophisticated actor. Active exploitation has been ongoing since at least 2023. CISA, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, issued an emergency directive with a remediation deadline of February 27. That deadline has passed. The Australian Cybersecurity Centre reported the vulnerability to Cisco. Action: apply the Cisco patch for CVE 2026-20127 immediately. Audit SD-WAN controller logs for unauthorized peer additions or configuration changes. If you cannot patch immediately, restrict management interface access to trusted IPs only. Sources: Checkpoint Research. The Hacker News. APT28 exploited MSHTML 0-day before February Patch Tuesday. CVE 2026-21513. KEV deadline tomorrow. CVE 2026-21513. CVSS 8.8 is an MSHTML security feature bypass patched in February 2026 Patch Tuesday. Akamai identified it was exploited as a 0-day, linked to APT28 infrastructure. Attackers deliver crafted LNK files that manipulate browser and Windows shell handling to bypass Mark of the Web and Internet Explorer enhanced security configuration. Then execute code, via shell execute XW outside the browser sandbox. The malicious LNK communicates with wellnesscam.com, an APT28 attributed domain. The attack uses nested iframes and multiple DOM contexts to manipulate trust boundaries. A related Microsoft Office flaw, CVSS 7.8, was exploited in the same campaign. CISA KEV deadline for is March 3 tomorrow, and 2 additional CVEs. See show notes for the full list. Action. Confirm February 2026 Patch Tuesday is applied to all Windows systems today. Block wellnesscam.com at DNS/proxy. Treat LNK files delivered via email or web links with elevated suspicion, especially from unknown senders. Source: The Hacker News. Roundcube webmail actively exploited 2 KEV entries. Deadline March 13. CVE 2025-49113 is a post-authentication remote code execution flaw in Roundcube webmail. EPS, the exploit prediction scoring system, 90th percentile, CISA KEV deadline March 13. CVE 2025-68461 is an unauthenticated cross-site scripting flaw in the same product. CISA KEV deadline March 13. Both are confirmed exploited in the wild, including against cPanel-hosted Roundcube deployments. Widely deployed on-premises instances are the primary exposure. Action: patch Roundcube immediately. If you operate cPanel hosting, this is a priority. Check for unauthorized admin activity or file modifications before patching. KEV deadline is 2026-0313. Source: Checkpoint Research. SolarWinds Web Help Desk Pre-Auth Remote Code Execution Chain. Multiple KEV entries. Researchers disclosed a pre-authentication RCE chain in SolarWinds Web Help Desk. CVE 2025-40552, EPS 90th percentile, and EPS 91st percentile are authentication bypass flaws. EPS 94th percentile is a deserialization RCE. Chained together, an attacker with network access to an exposed help desk server achieves full takeover without credentials. And EPS 99th percentile are also part of the detection and exploitation surface, both previously KEV listed, and 4 additional CVEs. See show notes for the full list. Action: patch SolarWinds Web Help Desk and ensure the web interface is not exposed directly to the internet. If exposure is unavoidable, restrict access to known IP ranges at the network level. Multiple KEV deadlines in this chain have already passed. Source: Checkpoint Research. Next section: Business and Infrastructure Threats. North Korea's famous Kalama publishes 26 malicious NPM packages. Stega Bin Campaign, the North Korean threat cluster Famous Kalama Contagious Interview Campaign, published 26 malicious NPM packages that use text steganography to conceal command and control addresses within benign-looking pastebin essays. The packages install a credential stealer and RAT targeting Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. Capabilities include VS Code persistence via malicious tasks, JSON file, keylogging, clipboard theft, browser credential harvesting, truffle hog secret scanning, and SSH key exfiltration. The RAT connects to 103.106.67.63 to 1,244. C2 infrastructure is hosted on Versal. Package names include Argonist, Bcryptance, Bquarl, Bubblecore, Corstoken, Datanges, Etherlint, ExpressLint, FastifyLint, Formiterable, HappyLint, and 15 others. Action: block 103.106.67.63 at the firewall. Search for the 26 package names in your NPM dependency trees and developer workstations. Alert developers to verify package provenance before installation. Audit VS Code tasks. JSON files on developer systems for unauthorized modifications. Source: The Hacker News. OpenClaw jacked. Malicious websites could hijack local AI agent OpenClaw, a popular self-hosted AI agent platform, had a vulnerability where malicious websites could open a WebSocket connection to the local OpenClaw gateway. 127.0.0.1, bypass CORS protections, and brute force the management password at hundreds of guesses per second, with no rate limiting on loopback connections. After gaining access, attackers could register as a trusted device and execute arbitrary commands across all connected nodes, including exfiltrating files, reading message histories, and stealing credentials. The fix is in version 2026.2.26, released February 26. Action: update OpenClaw to 2026.2.26 or later immediately. Verify no unauthorized devices are registered in the management console. Sources: Bleeping Computer Security Week. UNC 2814, Gridtide. China Nexus Espionage Group hit 53 organizations in 42 countries. Google disrupted the infrastructure of UNC 2814, a China-linked espionage group that breached at least 53 organizations across 42 countries. The group's Gridtide backdoor abuses the Google Sheets API as a C2 channel to blend with legitimate traffic, enabling data exfiltration and remote shell execution. Primary targets are international government agencies and telecommunications organizations across Africa, Asia, and the Americas. The group is described as prolific and elusive. Source: The Hacker News. UK NCSC warning: elevated Iranian cyber threat. SIM swap scams follow Dubai strikes. The UK NCSC issued an advisory warning British organizations of heightened Iranian cyber attack risk tied to escalating Middle East conflict. Despite Iran's near-total internet blackout, connectivity at approximately 1% of normal levels following U.S. and Israeli strikes, state-sponsored groups are assessed to retain offensive cyber capability. The warning is primarily for organizations with presence or supply chains in the Middle East. Separately, opportunistic criminals in Dubai launched SIM swap campaigns against civilians within hours of missile strikes, impersonating a fictitious Dubai Crisis Management Department to harvest UAE pass credentials and Emirates ID for mobile banking fraud. Action: organizations with Middle East operations should review their external attack surface and increase monitoring. Review DDoS and phishing incident response plans. Train employees to verify caller identity independently before disclosing any credentials. Sources: Bleeping Computer the Register. Next section: Windows/Active Directory Security. Windows Server 2016 approaching end of support. 20% of servers still running at Lansweeper data shows 23% of monitored servers are still running Windows Server 2016, which Microsoft has announced is approaching end of support. Migration barriers are higher for server workloads than desktops due to service dependencies and downtime coordination. Windows 11 has crossed 57% of desktop market share. Windows 10 remains at 46.45%. Organizations on Windows 10 Extended Security Updates, ESU, are paying additional cost for continued patches. Action: audit Windows Server 2016 inventory and begin migration planning now. For Windows 10 commercial environments, confirm ESU licensing is in place or set a concrete Windows 11 upgrade timeline before ESU costs escalate further. Source: The Register. Next section: General Security News. Anthropic Claude Code, RCE via malicious project configurations. CVE 2025-59536 at Checkpoint Research disclosed vulnerabilities in Anthropic's Claude Code, allowing attackers to achieve remote code execution and steal API credentials through malicious project configurations. Compromised API keys provide access to shared workspaces, enabling file access and tampering. Anthropic patched the issues, including CVE 2025-59536. Development teams using Claude Code should confirm they are on the latest version. Action: update Claude Code to the latest version. Audit shared workspace API key access and revoke any keys that may have been exposed. Source: Checkpoint Research. Chrome CVE 2026-0628. Malicious extensions could hijack Gemini AI panel. Patched. CVE 2026-0628. CVSS 8.8. In Google Chrome allowed a malicious extension with basic permissions to inject JavaScript into Chrome's Gemini AI side panel via the Declarative Net Request API, enabling privilege escalation, camera and microphone access without consent, screenshot capture, and local file access. Patched in Chrome 143.0.7499.192 for Windows/Mac in early January 2026. No evidence of in-the-wild exploitation. Discovered by Palo Alto Networks Unit 42. Action. Confirm Chrome is updated to 143.0.7499.192 or later across all endpoints. Restrict browser extension installations to an organizational allow list. Sources: The Hacker News Unit 42. LLMs can de-anonymize online users with high-precision new research. Demonstrates that LLM agents can identify anonymous online users from posts on Hacker News, Reddit, LinkedIn, and anonymized interview transcripts. From a handful of comments, the system infers location, occupation, and interests, then searches the web to link identities across platforms. The technique scales to tens of thousands of candidates. This has direct implications for threat actor attribution, employee OPSEC policies, and assumptions about data anonymization in incident response contexts. Source: Schneier on security. Google developing Merkle tree certificates for quantum-resistant HTTPS. Google is developing Merkle tree certificates, MTC, as the next-generation HTTPS certificate infrastructure, designed to support post-quantum cryptography without the bandwidth overhead of traditional X. 509 certificate chains. A certification authority signs a single tree head representing millions of certificates. Browsers verify inclusion via lightweight proofs. Full rollout via the Chrome quantum-resistant root store is targeted for Q3 2027. No immediate action required, but organizations managing long-lived PKI infrastructure should monitor this standard as post-quantum TLS timelines solidify. Sources: The Hacker News Security Week. Next section, Patch Priority. Cisco SD-WAN, CVE 2026-20127, CVSS 10, KEV, CISA deadline already passed, Feb 27. Unauthenticated auth bypass exploited since 2023 enables root-level controller takeover. Patch immediately. Windows February Patch Tuesday. CVE 2026-21513, KEV, CISA deadline is March 3 tomorrow. APT28 linked MS-HTML 0-day bypasses Mark of the Web and IE/ESC. Confirm all Windows systems are current. Roundcube webmail, CVE 2025-49113 plus CVE 2025-68461, both KEV, deadline March 13. Post-auth RCE and unauthenticated cross-site scripting, both actively exploited including against cPanel deployments. SolarWinds Web Help Desk, CVE 2025-40552, KEV, pre-auth RCE chain, multiple KEV deadlines already passed. Do not expose to the internet unpatched, and 2 additional CVEs. See show notes for the full list. Chrome 143.0.7499.192 plus patches CVE 2026-0628, CVSS 8.8. Gemini panel privilege escalation via malicious extensions. Standard browser update cycle applies. Next section, Vulnerability Disclosures. Wireshark 4.6.4 released. Wireshark 4.6.4 fixes 3 vulnerabilities and 15 bugs. Update if Wireshark is deployed in your security operations or analyst workstations. Source: Sans ISC. Google API keys usable against Gemini endpoints research found that Google Cloud API keys, normally used as project identifiers for billing, can be abused to authenticate to sensitive Gemini endpoints and access private data when users enable certain API scopes. Review your Google Cloud API key scopes and restrict keys to minimum necessary permissions. Source: The Hacker News that concludes today's cyber threat brief. From Carolina Clear Tech. Stay patched, stay vigilant.